Welcome, everyone, to episode 146 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, another frictional game, another spooky game. Is this game worth our time?
Guess it depends on whether or not you like sci-fi horror.
Yeah, in this episode, we are talking about SOMA by Frictional Games.
They sound familiar.
They do, because they made that very spooky game, well, collection of games, Amnesia collection. And they made this one. And this game, again, kind of a sporadic release dates here, but came out in September of 2015 for the PS4, Linux, Mac, and PC. And then in December of 2017 for the Xbox One.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's something. But this game, I played it on the PC. It was 20.02 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
This is very interesting. 16.9 gigabytes in the Series S.
Hey, that is quite some savings.
Yeah.
Frictional did some fractionals on this or something.
You're terrible.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. But speaking of which, what kind of game is this?
I put first-person survival horror. I put the survival in there this time. Are you happy now?
Because I took it away this time. you said I forgot what your reasoning was the last time. I was like, okay, that's fair. So I just put first person horror game, and that's what I stuck to. So
see, in this one, I actually did see things hunting me.
Fair. This is okay. This is the shoe's on the other foot here. So that's what happened here. So the game loop, though, Tom. What is the game loop?
This one I have pretty much exactly what I wrote last time. Explore environments and interact with objects to find clues and unlock areas to advance the plot.
Okay. I don't think I probably should have just copied what I wrote in the last one, but navigate the world while uncovering the story.
Yes, more general, but same concept.
Yes, exactly. So let's jump right into our likes of this game, of SOMA.
Well, I will say, and it's very hard not to compare this to the last game we played, because literally the last game we played and also made by the same people. But this one looks a whole lot better. It's more modern. So, I mean, that goes without saying.
It is not in a dingy dungeon anymore.
No.
But it takes place, I guess, well, the game starts out in a very modern world. Yeah. You're in Toronto.
Looks like a real place.
Yeah.
Speaking of real places, I think the object interaction is much more logical in this game than it was. There were objects I could pick up and read. Yeah. And then it just kind of automatically put them back where they were. I thought that was nice. There were a whole bunch of objects you could interact with that just weren't just throwing them around.
Yeah.
So that was
turn on faucets and stuff like that.
Turn on light switches.
Yeah. I was really surprised. I thought this game was a lot newer, but it is a fairly old game at this point, at the time of this recording. And it's I agree with you. This is definitely a better looking game than Amnesia overall. And I mean, I don't know if it's just a setting. It allowed them to just be a little bit more cleaner. I don't know, like the color palettes were just a bit different. But you had something we probably talk about a little bit later with regards to color. But yeah. And again, like I think if anything, Frictional has audio down pat. Like their audio design is just really good, really, really good. It gets you. It really, when like even the beginning when you're riding the subway, you can like they have the chatter of the people, and then like the subway itself, like you felt that kind of claustrophobia in a way. And since you and I have ridden a subway once or twice in our lives, so
yes, we know the real feeling of it.
Yeah, so it was great. It was a good job that they did with that. What else did you like about this game?
Speaking about audio, there's an NPC called John Strohmeyer. And that voice acting is just so good. Like, he gives you instructions on this tool that you get. And I just was like, I can't wait to meet this guy and have him do more and interact with this character because I just think the voice acting in general was really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think you and just to kind of give a quick synopsis of at least the hour that we've played. You play as a character Simon who got into a car accident with his friend Ashley, I believe is the name of the other person, and he is going to essentially a study that's going to be done on him to potentially help with his brain is bleeding always, like his head. He's always got this some sort of thing. So he's hoping that this will help him deal with that. And it doesn't. I guess it just doesn't, because he's transported to what seems to be some sort of just some weird ass facility.
Yes.
And no one's there, and you have to figure out what the heck is going on. So, like, John Strohmeyer is there to help you.
Yes.
So,
other things I enjoyed, the controls were explained as you needed them. I love when games do this in general. I do not like to be bombarded with all of the controls before I need them.
Yeah.
You know, when I need to activate the switch, show me how to activate the switch. When I need to know how to duck, show me how to duck. Like this game does that. So
yeah. And I mean, at this point, they probably have made a couple of those games, so they have a good idea about how to do that. Environmental storytelling in this game as well, I thought was done well. So I said that. I'll say well one more time, but it is especially when you get into that new facility, something went down there, and and just the way that even just certain rooms and sections that you get into, you're just like, okay, what is going, like, how did this happen? Mm-hmm. It got you really invested in what was going to happen in this game. And again, added to the little notes that you pick up, the audio logs that you listen to, and like you can touch, I think it was like certain machinery or something, and then it would kind of replay what happened to that particular or like some sort of interaction that happened with that device. So it's kind of cool. I thought that was a neat little twist. I mean, especially since it is not in that like kind of Victorian era or of so
make good use of the environment and the tools and the setting.
Exactly. What else did you like? Anything else here?
The only other thing that I put is that I thought so you wake up in the future,
right.
And I was like, okay, I think I know what's going on here. Yeah. And then I saw my hands and was like, nope, I'm wrong. Never mind.
I'm curious. What did you think it was?
I thought his brain was downloaded and then put into a robot.
Oh, interesting.
Because when you wake up in the future, you're surrounded by robots. There are no other people around.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. Like this guy in the present day, his brain was scanned.
Yeah.
They saved a copy of it.
Yeah.
And then his brain was downloaded into this thing in the future. And that explains this mental break of all this time that's missing, and the person has no memory of it.
Right.
But then, spoiler, within the first hour, you see your human hands.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm not some robot creature.
No, you are not a robot creature. But there's that mystery in this game. But what's not a mystery is what we don't like about this game, and we'll get into it right now.
Yes. So what the hell is with that way that it starts? Everything about this game is talking about how it's set in some underwater research facility,
right?
And in the future, and I'm just some guy in my apartment recovering from a car accident. I'm like, I had to stop and check and make sure I started the right game.
It was definitely like wait, what just happened here? Moment for sure. And well, I don't know. I guess this was like kind of like in between likes and dislikes. The kind of cutscenes that they had reminded me of like old school Max Payne, like noir kind of painterly kind of things. I know you didn't really like that in particular for previous games, but it is what it is. But
I wasn't necessarily a fan of them here.
Yeah, but this game is, after you get out of Toronto and out of that grungy subway, which I don't know. I'd have to talk to my wife if that is how subways look like in Toronto, but I don't think they are. But the game is terrifying. Like I said, like kind of it's a dislike for me because I'm not a fan of horror games. But it is terrifying. It does a great, like I said, great job with the audio design. I know this sounds like a positive, and it maybe is for you. It maybe is a positive, but for me, it was just, they did it again with this game where you're walking around and then like every once in a while you hear like a pitter patter of someone else, like maybe scampering through this world. And I think they made it a little bit more obvious in this game because you could see certain things getting thrown around and stuff like that versus Amnesia. But I'm with you that this whole intro was very confusing for me. I don't know what is going on, but it was in a way kind of intriguing, like what is happening. And but every place in this game was filthy. What's up with that? Your apartment was filthy. That office that you walk into was filthy. The subway was filthy. And now this facility, pigsty.
Yeah. At least you can cut the facility in the future some slack because it definitely looks like it's been overrun by killer robots.
Right.
So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. Why is your apartment such a mess? Just a lazy guy?
I mean, I guess he's blaming it on the brain damage.
Yeah, since the day he was born.
I'll be honest, I wasted a lot of time in that apartment trying to clean up, like trying to throw stuff.
Oh, yeah? Good for you.
Because I was like, as long as I could just delay myself from getting terrified, I'm okay with it. Like they gave me
nothing bad's going to happen in the apartment, right?
No, I should hope not. And it didn't. Spoiler, but it did not. So that, like, again, with the mystery stuff, why, like, when you get to the office, why was there no one there to greet you? Why was that place like in shambles? It made no sense. It made no sense to me.
I've got, because this is a game where your suspension of disbelief is that you're supposed to, you're doing the right thing or something.
Right.
But every clue, everything that I'm reading as I'm navigating these early environments, I'm like, I need to just leave. Right? Like,
why am I?
I'm just gonna turn around and go back to my apartment. Like this.
If I was to go to a study that's supposedly supposed to fix my brain, but the first impression is this place looks like a mess, I don't believe that is going to be a place that's going to help me with my problems.
There's no one there to greet you. You have to like go into their computer and like basically steal the password to get into the office.
That's right. Like, come on.
If you read through those emails, the guys are talking about how they get to try it out and they found some schmo to test things on.
It's like they're talking about me.
I'm the schmo. I'm just gonna turn around and go home.
I would have been great. I think there was where was it? There was one moment in the game because I remember in Far Cry, in the Far Cry game that we played, if you stay in a particular area for a certain amount of time, the game will actually end. Like you get a secret ending. So I was wondering if there was like moments in this game where you stay at a particular place or not do what you're supposed to do if the game would just roll credits. But unfortunately, it did not do that. Or maybe I just didn't do it in the right place. But yeah, that was unfortunate. I thought that would have been great. To just roll credits. You just walk out, the game over. It's like
the end.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. But this is, look, it's a first person game.
Mm-hmm.
I was like kind of happy because when you wake up, you see your feet.
Oh.
And I was like, that's great. But then as soon as you start walking, no feet. It's only in stationary places that you get to see your feet. I just, you got to show them all the time or none of the time. But I will still judge you if you don't show it none of the time. But
yeah. It's like, except for Chris, where it's got to be all the time.
Yeah. So yeah. What else did you not like about this game, Tom?
Okay, so I wandered around a fair amount. There's the same problem that Amnesia had, where you don't have a map, so you can end up going around in circles quite a bit.
Yeah.
There are like these door barriers that you can disable, but then they're still there in the environment, but you can pass right through them. Like I thought it was something I was going to have to hop over or something.
Right.
No, you can just walk right through them like they're not there.
Yeah. It's like, then what's the point of them? Yeah, you're right.
It just seemed kind of sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point at which you're given this tool, and then you use the tool to open up an area, and I walked away from that area without realizing that I had left my tool there. Like the game, it wasn't obvious to me that I needed to like recollect it.
Right.
There was also like a tool. It said the toolbox opened, and I was like, "Where's the toolbox?" I didn't realize it was right to the
next
left. I was like looking around the room for a toolbox.
Right.
Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
For a game that generally was pretty handholdy, it's just like in certain moments with just, I guess the designers were like, oh, this is obvious. We know where we put the toolbox, so everybody will know where it is.
Everyone knows. No, not Tom.
No. And part of the reason that it was so hard to find things is because it's so freaking dark all the time.
It was, yeah.
You know, I adjusted the gamma based on what the game suggested so that I could see XYZ. And then the whole time it's like in the dark. Like once you get into the future, it's just dark.
Right.
Guess the future's dark, guys. So, you know.
I mean,
get ready.
I did appreciate that at least in the very beginning area, you could turn, like you said, you can turn on and off lights. And again, that dungy little office area, they had lights off. Like, what? I don't feel welcome at all. But and then I guess they were just trying to prepare you for the darkness that is the future. So, you know, so be it. That's like you said, we need to accept our fate there. And yeah, what a shame. What a shame. But you actually saw an enemy.
I did, but it's in my dislikes because it took me an hour to see it. At least I did see it.
Right.
Unlike the alien in Alien Isolation.
This is true.
I never saw. Mm-hmm. But yes, at the very, very, very end of my playtime, I saw a killer robot. And because my hour was up and I knew it was up, I ran into it and committed suicide.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. I want to see what happens.
I just ran into the there was like a live wire. I was trying to kill myself there because I was like, I don't want to see anything scary. So I was like, let me try to do that.
Just electrocute yourself.
Yeah, but it didn't actually. I just got shocked, but that was about it. I didn't die.
You just kept saying, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's okay. I'm glad you got to see an enemy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did not. But all right. So shall we get into our other thoughts then?
Yes. What else is special about this game?
Well, this game is on xCloud, so you can play it on your phone.
Hey.
And you have Xbox Cloud saves. And Tom, this is another short game. How Long to Beat says it takes about 9 hours to complete. So, you know, Fractional. I was going to say Fractional. Frictional. They know how to make like a nice short and sweet game. But you know, I guess we'll talk about it with our final thoughts here. But you know, for people that like scary games, they make them short and sweet, so you can experience, have a good time with it, and move on. I will say, well, we can talk about this offline. I did go and look up how the story ends because I was curious. Like the story was interesting enough, like for me to kind of like be like, okay, what actually happened in this? So I did look it up. And yeah.
Let's not spoil it for those who may want to play it.
Right, because we've only covered about you know one ninth of the game in this. So you know,
sure.
That's fine. What you got there, Tom?
It may not surprise you that this game was inspired by the works of Philip K. Dick, famous, of course, for Android's Dream of Electric Sheep and other things like that. The audio director of this game, a person named Samuel Justice, opted to record environments instead of the usual processing of sounds. I found this pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So what that meant is you go into different environments and then record the sounds there.
Yeah.
So as a consequence, 2,000 footstep sounds were captured during this recording process. So instead of just taking a footstep sound and then pushing it through a filter or something to create different nuances, different versions of it. Nope, they were all different, unique sounds. Probably a big piece of why this game sounds so good.
Yeah, and someone got their steps in that day too, so good for them.
Yes, yes.
So that's good. So let's dive right into it then, Tom. Literally and figuratively, are we keeping this game on our respective hard drives or cast it into the ocean with that rest of that robot evil army, whatever?
Shoot it out the airlock?
Yeah.
I don't. Do we have airlocks in the water? I don't know.
Kind of
space.
Waterlock? I don't know.
Right, waterlock. So it doesn't surprise I think anybody, but this game looks and plays a whole lot better than Amnesia does.
Right.
So if you're like, Amnesia's pretty cool, but I'd like to play something more current. This is definitely the one for you. It's clear that Frictional's been improving their formula with each successive release.
Yeah.
But I cannot stand games that are dark like this. They just drive me up the wall.
Yeah.
I'm just perpetually irritated by it. So I think I'm probably done with this. Like,
okay.
If the game played more like the first 30 minutes than it did like the second 30 minutes, I'd probably be more likely to play it.
I mean, the first 30 minutes was like The Sims. Like,
yeah, but like the environments were better lit. I could tell what was going on, even though I couldn't tell what was going on.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, cool. For me, it's a hard no, because this game was terrifying. But again, it is a game that, you know, like Frictional knows how to make a scary game. And this is just another one that they did pretty well. If you guys have finished Amnesia and you wanted to see what else they got going on, check out SOMA. It's good. It's good for that. And I'm just surprised at how old this game is and how well it's you know, stayed looking decent, halfway decent. So
yeah,
you know.
It's definitely aged well. It probably helps that the game's played mostly in the dark.
That too. But yeah, those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think about this game. Follow us, say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D, or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below and maybe we'll respond. 1H1D is part of that QTB network. And if you like any other cool gaming content, podcast, blogs, whatever, check it all out on quitthebill.com/network.
It was quite well done, Chris.
Oh, thank you. But we do need to find out what we're playing next. The surprise button is not helping us this time, though, because we have a guest, and how appropriate. They are a writer for Podcasters United who writes on the QTB Blogs Network.
All right.
Yeah, Liv from Podcasters United is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about Mineko's Night Market.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll give you all our thoughts for that one. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode, and we will catch you in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.